Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Ask the Expert session. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time zone you may be calling us in. My name is Rebecca Cronin, and I'm one of the customer success managers here with the Altair Data Analytics team. Now, some of you might recognize my voice or perhaps seen my name within the user community, participated in our onboarding sessions. And if you haven't joined the user community, it's a great location to collaborate with fellow peers, some of our experts, as well as to get some great insight and helpful tips and tricks. The customer success team, we're here as another point of contact for you to reach out at any time with any questions, concerns you may have, and as well as if you're unable to get a hold of your account manager. We could also provide you assistance getting access to both our user community and to our Altair One accounts. So little housekeeping on the control panel there, you should see we do have a handout section. It is a copy of today's PowerPoint that you may download. Within this PowerPoint, along the slide deck, you will see helpful web links to our community, to our support portal, our e-learning, YouTube channel, etc. You'll also see the question panel. This is where you can submit your questions. It can be about anything Monarch related, whether it's in classic mode, Data Prep Studio mode, or even our Monarch server component. It does not have to be about our topic that we're going to dive in today. And if you feel like this session will be helpful for some of your colleagues, please feel free. I think there's also a chat panel that you can copy and forward the invitation link for them to go join and register. And now with the questions that you do submit, we will do our very best to answer those throughout the session. And if we're unable to get a response to you during that session, we will follow up with a support ticket or directly. And if you can allow us at least 2 to 5 business days to get to you. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our expert. It's Mo Abdolrahim. He's one of our senior professional service consultants. He's been with the organization for over 15 plus years, providing our customers with both on and off-site assistance. Some of you might have had the pleasure to work with him or perhaps even see some of his replies within the user community. So with no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mo. Let me find him to make him presenter. And we're going to dive into the topic of DPS summaries within Analyze window. So we're switching this over.
All right, thanks, Rebecca. Let me just share my screen.
So I see looks like a PDF of Monarch Complete Analyze / Summary.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thanks. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Ask the Expert session. So today's demo would be on Data Prep Studio, Analyze, or Summary. I will be using the latest version of Monarch Data Prep Studio 2024.1. So, the demo would be on Analyze or Summary usage. Also, splitting a dataset table by unique key in Summary. This is kind of useful, and then also export summaries. As you build summaries, you probably want to export them. So what is Analyze? Analyze usually refers to a quick overview of the dataset table, often including a subtotal or grand total and basic statistical information about each columns, such as it may include counts, sum, mean, a standard deviation, mean, and max. So basically, these are kind of included. You can have these, different basic statistical options within the summary. So for today's demo, I will be using our sample reports, which is a quarterly report, January, February, March PDF report. As you can see that, well, the prerequisite for today is I'm assuming that you all know how to trap data and create a data set table. So I have like 3 reports here with the table, a data set table called media. And as you can see that the report has, the date, report date. So there's like 3 months of report, January, February, March. And within each month, we have the customer information, customer account number. Basically, the account number is mapped to the customer name. And within a customer, we have multiple order numbers. Like for this customer, Betty Yoder, there are 2 order numbers. And within the order numbers, these are the different types of media that was sold and the amount. Okay, so we want to create a summary to summarize, by months, account number or contact name, and then order number, and then also media, and find out what is the total amount within this, how to aggregate this data set and find out the total amount. So let me just start Data Prep Studio, and I'm just going to open up the workspace that I already created. Again, you can see that this is the workspace. Okay, so in order to create a analyze or summary, you just select your table, and every time you create a summary, that summary is mapped to the selected table that you have in your Data Prep Studio. Okay, so you can see here that you can click on the plus to create a new summary. If you already have summaries, you click on this button, Manage Summaries, to like duplicate the existing summary and edit it. So let's just start with new summaries. And also you can see that, summary, drill level, or active measures. So by default, these buttons are disabled unless you build the summary, and depending on what options you use in summary, then the drill level or active measures becomes enabled. So when you create a new summary, you can obviously give it a name. So I'm just call this summary 1, or you can just give it a better name. And if you created the filter, define filter, you can select your filter here. So apply a filter to your summary, or just ignore that filter. Just don't, because I don't have any filter here. So either no filter or the default filter. Obviously, there is no filter. You can also provide the font for your summary view. Something to remember is when you build a summary is not a data set, but rather a snapshot of the data set. So basically, when you have a summary, you can create another table from the summary. It's just a snapshot, and then you can export it to, the other format like Excel or delimited file. Okay. In edit summary view, there are 4 boxes here. So in order to group common data, you put your columns in the row list. So I'm going to group by report date, and then account number, and then media. Okay, so this is selecting the report date. Let me just maximize that, so maybe you can see report date. We just click on the button to put it in the row list, and then account number. So by putting these columns in the row list, basically the common data, like the report date, it groups them together as one record. Okay, and then within the report date, it groups account number, and then if I have the order number, okay, it just groups all these together, and then the numerical field should be added to the measure. Measure only accepts numerical columns. Okay, so I'm just going to add amount to the measure. You can also optionally add count to the measure. So this basically gives you how many rows are grouped together to give you the sum of amount. Again, there is a bunch of aggregated functions like sum, average, mean, max, etc., available that you can change that form, the sum of amount to like average or mean or max amount. Okay. So once you finish that, if you want like grand total, of course, there is a grand total at the bottom. So it'll give you the grand total for all the media information amount that was sold at the bottom of the summary. You can also provide like a different font or color. So the default, this is the default style. So instead of using the default style, I want to change the title row. I don't like this background dark gray. I want to change it to maybe something lighter. So so maybe I'll just change that to the light gray, and then text something like just pick a color. Okay. So, and this is for the title, and then for the data itself within the summary, you can also change that. For example, I want to change that everything to like maybe the blue color. Okay. And same thing, if you want to change your grand total, you can also change the color for grand total. So make that to like red. And by selecting this option, uh, by selecting apply label style to measure, it also uses that style for the numerical value of the grand total. And you can also add the lines in column, title row, or data row. So you can just make the rows or columns double lines or triple lines or single line. Okay. So basically, this would be a summary that I just created with the grand total. As you can see that there are 3 months in this summary. Now you notice that now the summary drill level is enabled. So when you add more than one column in the row list, therefore you will get this drill level. So I can drill up to go and show your report date and account number and total amount. And you can see that how many rows are grouped together for the account number 173. Or I can just even drill up by the date. So it'll show me the 3 rows by each month. Okay, so again, if you have multiple columns in the row list, this options becomes enabled. Okay, so you can roll drill down or drill up. So when you export a summary, the drill level is also available. So if I click on export, and let me just delete this. So again, if you build a summary on a table, you will see that option, summary. Okay, so I can just say the export to let's just select a folder. Okay, that's good enough for the name. Again, you need to select your summary here. Okay, and then over here you can define which drill level you want to export to. If you want to just export by date, like 3 months, you could just use drill level 1, or by date and account number, you just use 2. So you can have this choice of selecting which drill level to export. So if I want use the 3rd level, so I just select 3 here and export R, and then this would create an Excel file with all 3 levels, and which also contains the color, the style that I provided. Okay. Now let's go back to summary again. So so let's just create a different summary using other options. So I can go to manage summary. As you can see, that manage summary shows like which fields are added to the row list. So there are 3 fields are added to the rows list, and there are 2 amount and counts are added to the measure. Of course, I can edit it, delete it, or duplicate it, and then modify this summary. Let's just call this summary 2. You also have this comment box here that you can describe what this summary does. It would be useful for future references. If you come back to this summary, you can see what this summary does, or if you share the workspace with your colleagues, they can just see what this summary does. Okay, so now instead of having this summary view, what if I just add? I want to create a summary that shows me the amount by media. But instead of, if I add the media in the row list, again, it just adds another level in the summary by media. So as you can see that it just for this row, basically that account number, order number, there are 5 CDs sold, and that's the total amount. Okay, but what if I want to create a summary that will show me the media as a column header? Okay, so instead of having columns, the media as rows, I want to create the media as column headers. Therefore, you can just instead of putting media here, you can just add it into the columns. Okay, so by adding it to the columns, and it would give you another summary view that shows the media as a column header. Now you also notice that now I have the active measure is enabled. So the reason for this to become enabled is you have to have a column or a field in the columns list and another a field in the measure. Okay, so these are required for that for the measure option, active measure to becomes enabled. Also, you notice that when you have a field in the columns, the items list is disabled. So you cannot add anything to the items because you have a field in the columns, and therefore you cannot add a field in the items. I will explain what the items list is used for, but let's just look at this summary here. So you can see that now my summary has the media as a column header with the total amount and it's grouped by report date, account number, order date. Now I can change the active measure by either, because I have also count. By default, it uses the sum of amount. But if I want to find out, how many rows are grouped together, count, I can just count them. Okay, so it will just show the count of how many rows are grouped together. Or you can just say, show by all by keys. So it will just show the keys on top and the sum of amount and sum count for each key. So these are the different active measures that you can choose when you have a field in the column list as well as a field in the measure. Okay, obviously, if you want to export that, again, you can export. There's active measures here is available. So if I select summary, again, to an Excel file, and let's just change the file name, and no filter, no summary would be summary 2, and then I can select the which measure I want to say. So if I want to go by all by keys, drill level 3, include column header, export, and then you get another summary, and we get another summary with keys on top and then the total amount and total counts. Okay. So another features of summary is, let's go back to summary 1 that I created. What if I wanted to find out that, I change the color based on the range of the total amounts. For example, I want to find out that if the total amount for a customer that's let's say more than $150, show me a different color. Or if the customer ordered less than or equal $50, show me a different color. And anything between another color. Okay. And that would be, you just go to the summary, the edit summary under the measure. Okay. So let's just select the amount here, and you select coloring limit. Okay. Then you select this option, override for selected group. So I can select the entire group. So basically, except that maybe I don't care about grand total because that already has a color. But the grouping means I can select a different color when it's level 3, all the way from report date, account number, and order number. And then just show limit also here. You want to select this option. Or when it's the level 2, which is report date, account number, or just level 1 report date. So let's just put down here for all the way level 3, I want to just put in like $50 and 150. That's the limit. But if I go by account number and report date, now the total is much bigger. So I'm just going to say, show me by probably the 200 and 400. And then just by report date, again, it just sum up, it adds up all the amounts for each month. So my limit would be a lot bigger. Okay. And then I can, so normal values is anything in between 200 and 400. So let's just change that to like maybe green, and the lower limit, lower values to red, and upper values to orange. Okay. So as you can see that one is level 3. If orange is the upper limit, green is normal value, and red is basically lower limit. Okay. Now, if I go one level up, again, you can see that there is only normal value and above the limit value, because it's based on summarizing by account number and report date. And then if I go one level up, again, you can see that between 3 months, we have different colors, just the upper limit and lower normal value. Okay, there is no lower limit because this is more than 2,000 and this one, these two are more than 4,000 as I define. Okay. So I'm going to pause. I don't see any questions. If you have any questions, you can just, as Rebecca mentioned, you can put your questions in the question box. I monitor and I try to answer it. Okay, so let's go back to summary again. Now, in order to create a subtotal, let's say I want to create a subtotal by report date. So I want to find out what is the total amount for each month. Okay, so in order to create a subtotal, you have to have at least 2 fields in the row list. If you only have 1 field in the rows list, you cannot have summary. You have to have at least 2 or more fields in the row list. Okay, so then you start with the top field, in this case, report date, and you go to the layout, and then you select subtotal. You can include the key. The key, basically, this is the report date, so you can put the key to the right of the subtotal or to the left of subtotal, or don't include the key. Okay, so I want to include the key to the right of the subtotal. That's generally the case that people would like to have. Okay, and then I want to just basically add a blank line after the subtotal, not before it. Then you can also, if you want to change the color, you can also change the color of the, subtotal. So we can have, I'm running out of the color here. So let's see, maybe the light blue. Okay. So if I go level 3, as you can see that now I got a subtotal here by date that puts the date on the right side. The subtotal gives me the subtotal. Okay. Now, if I want to have a subtotal by also account number, okay, within the report date, again, that would be another subtotal. So you just go back to edit summary, select account number, and then layout, and put the subtotal on the right side. Obviously, you can also add color in here for that subtotal, or just leave it as default, whatever is defined up under up here. And okay, so now I get the subtotal for each account number. Okay, as well as the grand total. Okay. So when do we use the items list? Okay, so there are cases that, let me just cancel this, go to prepare page. Let's say I have a data set with, you can see how many columns you have by going to the column list, and it will tell you the total number of columns. So in my data set, I have 11 columns. But let's say I want to export my data set, but I don't want to export all the columns. I want to just export a subset of these columns, like, by report date, ship date, and amount. Okay, so those 3 columns that I want to export. So I don't want to later hide these columns or delete columns to export them. So I can just create a summary. Call this summary 3. So you have to have you need to put at least 1 column or 1 field in the row list here in order to use items list. Okay, so if I put, let's say, report date in the row list, and then I said by ship date, so I put that in the items, and then amount. Okay. Obviously, you can change the style and the color. And if you want to just add extra blank, to the rows, you can just change that number. So you can see that now I got this summary that with only 3 columns that are now, then I can export this only summary. Yes. So basically a subset of my data set. Instead of 11 columns, I want to just export 3 columns. Okay. there are the other, basically, this is pretty much all there is with summary. There is other options. So let me just change, go back, cancel this, go to summary one that I created. So within each field that you select here, you can just say you want all values, obviously, or maybe you just want the, obviously on the report date, you can just say the first value. So if I just say first value, it just only selects the first value, which is the first month, and everything else would be all others. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so basically it displays the rest of them as all others. Okay, so that's one option. Another option is by time interval. So you can, since this is the report date, you can just say, give me calendar month or quarter, calendar quarter uh, uh, options, and display all others. Okay, so this would give you a different view. Now it will show you by quarter. Other options would be by like measures. So you can just create a summary, and if the amount is basically greater than or equal, so you can just put a number. Let's just put a number here, 500. Okay, and click OK. So basically, this gives you a summary which are greater than or equal 500. So if you add up, for example, this is the total is 500. Obviously, you can see it's greater than 500. So anything that's greater than 500, it will give you that list. The rest of them would be all others, maybe towards the bottom. Maybe I don't have anything here. But that's what you would create a list here. Obviously, this is kind of too busy with the subtotal. It's hard to see. But that's how you can just provide a limit of, based on the measure limit. Okay. And finally, the last option would be exact match. And I can just click on this button here, edit values, and select any of these dates. So if I want to just select like a 3/1 date, so I want to create on this summary, okay, and discard and exclude from the total. So it just adds up the amount for this month and just doesn't include the total for the other months, or hide them, but include them in total, grand total. Okay, so you can, or display them as all others. So you can choose these options to just select one of the value for one of the field here in this case, and the rest would be all others. Okay, and within each summary, of course, you can select, the same options exist for other fields, like selecting all values or first, or values from table. Layout, again, you can create subtotal if you have more than 2 fields in the row list. You can also add the key, to your summary, or don't add a key. So if I select this option, of course, this is going to be too busy to display. Let me see what is the summary 3 looks like. Maybe we can try that one. It's less busy. So let's say I want to add the key report date. Okay. To the right of this report date, and then add a blank, insert a blank line. So basically, it just adds the report date, added a blank line, and just shows the date here. This is the next one. And then you got the fourth key here. Okay, so I see a questions here to Monarch. So the user is new to Monarch, and when building a summary, can a user change the alignment of text within a row? No, I guess you can. Alignment meaning like up or down. I guess that I think that's what. I think this is what you're asking. I didn't know you could do it, but you can just change the rows height or width. Is that?
Do you mean for, I wonder, the alignment, does it mean like center, left, or right?
For example, can you move the subtotal to the middle? Oh, okay.
Like you
I
see how
don't
all the
really.
values right now, Mo, are to the
Yeah,
left?
left, right. Yeah. So let's see the. I'm not sure if you can with the values here. In this case, no.
What about the default style? Does that let you set it up
No,
there?
that just changed the color and yeah. The only thing you can do, let's say, if I have, if I don't put amount here, let's just move amount and just put amount in the measure. Okay, and then select here. You can change the format. So by default, the format is floating, but you can use a different format. So for example, I can make that as currency, but still doesn't allow me to change the alignment of the value to like make it center. Okay, this is just the color. And so you can change that, the format of the values. So not to my knowledge, unless one of my colleagues on the line on this meeting knows that, but it is not available on, but it is available within a data set table, not within the summary. Okay. All right. So I
Maybe
don't
a
see
feature request we'll have to look into.
possibility. Or you can just change the format. Instead of currency, you can just use custom. I like custom because you can select the pound, which is a placeholder. So if I put the dollar sign pound, comma, comma, pound. So basically, if there are values here, like 6-digit values, and then the 2-digit after decimal point, it will just display that. If there is not enough values, it only displays what's the amount is. If it's like 3 digits and 2 digits after decimal, it just displays those and ignores the rest. So again, this is going to be the same as using currency, except it's just display it. If there are 6-digit amount, it would show that with dollar sign. Okay, but as far as I know, there is no cannot change this to right, left, or center. All right, I don't see any other questions. So the last thing I want to mention is splitting a data set using by unique key and also by basically by unique key in summary. So let's go back to my. I'm just going to create a new summary this time, and again, I want to add the report date to rows, and this time put account contact name. and then order number, and media, and then amount in the measure, and also add count. Okay, so we call this summary 4. So you notice that I have this summary that has date as the first column, report date, and then contact name, order number, media amount, and count. So what if I want to break this summary by report date? So I want to create a separate file for each report date. So basically, one file would contain all these rows all the way till 2.1, and then when we get to 3.1, it would be a separate file. So you first make sure that you put your key as the first key in the summary. In this case, is a report date. Okay. Then you go to export summary and select summary to an Excel file. So here I'm going to select my summary 4, and you need to select this option. Each distinct value of the first key makes a separate file or table. So if I want a separate file, you need to choose this option. When you use this option, then the path has to be just a folder, not a file name. Okay, that's why you change it to the folder. But if you select by tables, then it would expect you to provide a file. Okay, and in the Excel, it would just create one Excel file and three tabs or worksheet, because I have 3 months. Okay, so let's go by the file, and include column headers, all for derail level, and override. So if I select the last export check, so there are basically 4 or 3 reports are generated. Of course, there is a grand total. I forgot to uncheck the grand total. So you can see that basically these are for 3 months, but because I had the grand total, so this one is just contains the grand total. So you can just split your report or summary by unique key, as long as you put your key as a first key in the summary. So this contains all January report, and then February, March, and then obviously the grand total, which is just, I should have just removed the grand total. So that just has the grand total. Okay. Now I want to just pause to see there are no questions yet.
So Mo, there's a comment. I think if you go to prepare mode and check the alignment there, it may then carry over to the summary.
Well,
but the subtotals won't change though.
Let's see. Do you know where?
So the alignment, I think you select it when we do report design. I think it tells you. I don't know if we can change it here.
Well, let's see. Column list would show me height, type, format. Maybe format.
I think when you're like edit report design, I think it lets you select the alignment.
Oh, I see.
The alignment was on the text field, Mo.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Text field has alignment in the. Okay, let's, I thought it would be available here, right? But you're saying report design. Okay, let me just bring this up.
So down below,
So, left side, right side, type. Okay, well, you can, let's just put it on the right side. Yeah, I guess, yeah, as well as maybe other field like account number. So let's see if this would carry over.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a new feature in 2024.1,
Yeah,
but it's under the menu drop-down option for a text field. There's alignment under column list.
I see.
In the drop-down, like so, if you do contact name.
Contact.
Yeah, not from here.
Over here.
Nope. Close this and do the drop-down from contact name. Yes, you don't. Yeah, I'm not sure which version you have, but it's not listed on yours.
Okay, maybe I'm not having the latest version then. Let's see. Oh, okay.
yeah, you're running 2023.
Yeah, by default it's open 2020 because I have two versions. Sorry, I have two versions. So let me just close this, save it.
Yeah, sorry about that. As I said, I think it's a new feature in 2024, 2024.1.
Right, let me just open 2024. The reason I kept this version because I'm doing some model building for a customer and they only had 2023. That's why I kept it. And unfortunately, this just opened with the older version. So it is coming up, or is it? It's coming up, just takes a while. Okay, so let me just open. All right. So
There it is, alignment. You just, nope, go back.
yeah.
Go back to the drop-down list.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and you see alignment right there.
Okay. All right. So yeah.
And it's also available on the column list as well, where Mo was.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But let's see. Let's just go back and see if that changes the alignment. Okay, analyze. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I changed that to right justify. So I don't know if it would actually change, let's say, summary. And it works here. Not sure the subtotal is just
It won't work on the subtotal, so.
subtotal or grand total, right? Okay.
So the trick is to make sure you have 2024 and select the alignments during the prepare mode. Correct.
So there is a question here on the unique key in summary feature. It looks like it would also allow you to create separate tabs for each of the unique keys. So one spreadsheet with multiple tabs for the export. Yes, that is true. So so let's say I go back to export and I believe this is the one I created. So if I choose this option and call this export XLSX. So by table, okay, include column headers. So what that does is just creates a separate tab. Let me just, the grand total would also be included. I'm just going to leave the grand total. So okay, so basically for each month, it gives you a separate tab because there are 3 months plus the grand total. Okay, so that was another question in the list. All right. Anything else? So basically, that is pretty much I had for summary. Again, when you build a summary, it's just a snapshot. It just whereas, by the way, a summary is mapped to a data set. So if I duplicate this data set, again, all the summaries that I created also available for this data set. So because it's a duplicate. But if I basically, if I create another table from this TBL media, for example, let's say create a pivot table by media. So my media would be pivot, and then I group them by report date and contact name, and then amount. Okay. So this is similar to the summary that I created, that I put media in the columns list, except it doesn't give me the grand total or subtotal. But again, you notice that if I switch to analyze, there is no analyze for this table. The analyze are available for TBL, this data set. So it is mapped to this table. Again, I thought you could see the table, which table is mapped to in the category, but maybe I'm not I'm mistaken, but I thought we could see it. But anyway, so you can see that when I click on the data set, if there are summaries built for that data set, you can see it here. If you click on a different data set that has no summary, this is disabled. Okay. Yeah. Again, if you build a filter, you can apply a filter. So for example, if I just create a filter and just say, show me CDs, obviously. You just, I have to, I want to select this data set. So I have the media, CD, media equal. So if I have a defined filter, then within the summary, you can just, obviously this one doesn't have any media. So if I include media here, and then I can just say, just use no filter or CD, and so it just shows the summary for that filter, CD filter. All right, so let's see if there is no other questions. So that's pretty much I had. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So before I don't want to run out of time. So and lose folks. I'd like to launch the poll question. So if you had your screen in maximum view, you'll want to minimize it in order to respond for our next topic for next month. So would you like to learn and review regex trapping? Would you like to cover distributions and naming macros for Monarch server? Would you like to have a review of the classic mode interface and functionality? And if you select other, in our closing survey, when this webinar is completed, there's a prompt where you can submit additional comments. What we'll then do is take that additional comment, that feature item that you're looking to learn about, and we'll include it to the poll topic for voting. So I see we're at about almost 80% voting. You'll have to select the most important item because it allows you just to select only one on what you'd like to learn for our May session. So we'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And by popular vote, it's the regex trapping topic that we'll cover. And let me get my screen. I just got some little quick closing slides. In the
Rebecca,
meantime,
before
yep.
you continue, I want to mention one thing to the folks here. For those of you who are using Automator, each distinct value of first key makes a separate file or table that is also integrated in Altair Monarch Server Automator. So you can also use Automator to export, a data set by the first key in the summary. Okay, that's all, Rebecca. Thanks.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. Didn't know if you were going to show something else.
No, just want to mention that.
Yep. So let me make my screen presenter. And so I'm just going back to the closing slides. So again, if you didn't get a chance to download it, as I mentioned, there's these key helpful web links that you can save and attend. So like our YouTube channel. By the way, these Ask the Expert sessions, and I'll send out a message, we have them finally up. They're both in our user community location and in our YouTube channel. So if I bring that up real quick. So here we have a Monarch Asks the Expert YouTube channel playlist. So I will send this link in a follow-up email, but you can see the past webinars. So thank you all for being patient to allowing me to get these up here and added. And as well as you can find them within the community. If you do a search for Monarch Ask the Expert, you will see these past sessions as well. So thank you all for that. Let me go back to our PowerPoint. Sorry, I guess it stopped when I did that. So again, support if you need assistance, Monday through Friday, 24/5. And then this is just, again, the community screenshots. They're in that PowerPoint. So just go through this really quick. And just get to the last slide. So our next session, as I mentioned, is upcoming in May. I'll get this link up here soon. So May 20th. So if you want, you can pre-register for those upcoming last sessions. And then we will be off for the summer, July and August, and then return back in the fall. So again, I want to thank you all. We're like right in that minute dot. I don't know if there's a last minute question that's been popped up. I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Mo, thank you so much for presenting. So we hope to see you in May for our regex trapping. Have a wonderful day and good luck on tax day. Take care. All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.